Okay, now we're going to learn how to use line numbers with idlex because idle does not support line numbers. But first, let's see why we care. Here's a modified version of Hello World that has an obvious error. When I run it, it prints 1 over 0 and says, hey, you can't divide by 0. But it tells us the line number of the error, line 2. And sure enough, here, that's line 1, that's line 2. In such a small program, we can find line 2 easily, but our programs will be much larger, and we want line numbers here to help us find when we see an error where the error occurred. They're useful for other reasons as well. And idle does not support line numbers. So for that, we want idlex, which adds a lot of features to idle, including line numbers. I'm going to show you how to do that now, and this will mostly work for most of you. It's a little prickly in some cases, so if it doesn't work for you, please go to office hours and the TAs will gladly assist you. Okay? To begin with, I have to run a command shell, or a terminal, it's also called. On a Mac, you type in terminal and you get this. On Windows, you'll do the start button and type in CMD for command, CMD, and you'll get something very similar. Okay? The first thing we have to do is we have to install Pip. Pip is a program that helps us install other modules, such as idlex. So Pip might already be installed on your computer. If it is, we're going to actually uninstall it. So we'll start by saying pip uninstall pip. Okay? If it's installed, that's what you'll see, and you'll say yes, and now it's uninstalled. If it was already uninstalled, when you do pip uninstall pip, this is what you'll see, something to the effect of, hey, there's no such thing. Either way, I've now gotten rid of whatever old pip there was. Okay, great. So now, let's clear this. So now I want to install Pip cleanly. Okay, so for that, go to the internet and ask how do I install Pip, and it says right here, this is what we want. To install Pip, do this line. We're going to copy that line, that curl line. We're going to go back to our command shell and paste that line. And now that downloaded pip.py, okay? And now what we want to do is we want to run idle, okay? So I will go start idle, we know how to do it. Open con. So I have to open get pip, which got downloaded when I just did that download. It's in my home directory, okay? So I open get pip. And the reason I'm doing it this way is you might have more than one Python on your machine. And if you run it from within idle, you'll be sure to get the idlex corresponding to the Python from your idle. Anyway, I go ahead and run this, and it starts and it runs, collecting pip, etc. And it installed it. So now I can get rid of this. And in fact, I can remove get pip.py at this point. I don't need it anymore. Okay. So now I have pip. And with pip, I'm going to pip install idlex. And oh, idlex was actually already installed. If that's the case, just to be safe, uninstall it. That way we'll be sure that it's really fresh, and then reinstall it. Okay, it's going to go ahead and get it. Oh, cool, now it's installed. Once idlex is installed, it's a little cumbersome, but not terrible to run idlex instead of idle. See, if I double click here, I still get idle. You can tell because it says idle up there, and of course I don't have line numbers. So instead, I'll go here in my shell and I'll type in idlex. And now if everything went right, now I'm running idlex. It looks just like idle, but already there's a difference because see how it says Python up there and not idle? That's the clue that we're running idlex instead of idle, but it looks a lot like idle. But now from here, I can open, I'll go ahead on my desktop and I'll open Hello World, and bingo, line numbers. So now I have the same basic situation as idle, but now I have line numbers and other nice things. If you search the internet, you can find all kinds of nice things that are inside idlex. But now when I have the error on line 2, sure enough, I can see which line is line 2. So that was super helpful. Okay. Oh, one last thing for those who care. If you really want to be able to use your terminal while you're running idle, then what you can do is instead of typing idlex, just put a space and an ampersand. And what that does is it runs it in the background. So idlex is still running, but now my terminal is still available to me in case that was of interest to you. If not, you can ignore that part. Okay, that's all. Hope this helped.